Howdy, guitar players and other instrument users, I guess this would be applicable for as well. Today, we're going to talk about something that's pretty important to your, not just performance, but survivability in your career of enjoying your instrument and proliferating your abilities. We're going to talk about resilience, and so I'm using that as a catch-all for flexibility, etc. In sport-specific training world, there's applications even to musicians, and with what's available, it's so easy to get maximum return. It would be kind of foolish not to use at least some of these, the ones that are maybe more important for certain individuals over others. But let's jump in somewhere. Get some ideas and concepts going, then we'll look at a couple of examples. But okay, so any activity that you do a whole lot of, and you're not going to be a very good player if you don't, is going to have a potential for overuse injuries, and those can be mitigated with some prehab. So instead of waiting till it's already damaged, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So maybe later on, if y'all let me know in the comments if this was helpful or you want me to expound on it, we can look at more than, I'm going to target the most direct abuse region and what we're using the most today, of course. But realistically, playing guitar is a full body activity. There may not be seemingly much going on in other places, but it all has to integrate. And an interesting anecdote on that. I went to a neurology seminar where the specialist had a pretty good history in classical music. He played violin, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But so he probably could have solved this case with his experience and training in neurology world, but he already had a better inkling and insight into how to solve this troublesome case for this lady that was really getting problematic, too distracting of pain and symptoms to even be able to perform well. So this guy has a knack. It's kind of his calling card that he solves the stuff that none of the other MDs and friends could do much with at all. So anyway, at the lecture he mentioned he solved her problem by doing tricep extensions on her left arm. So it seems weird, right? But nervous system's pretty complicated, and a lot of it has to do with the input to the brain, so it can normalize output. So she had some muscle tone and nerve afferentation disparities that were solved just with an exercise. So back to guitar and the hands, right, specifically. So all that stuff's interesting, but let's get the results and maybe figure out, explain why and how after we can enjoy the benefits instead of just pondering forever and never doing such, right? So for one thing, I'm going to show you here that you don't even need equipment or even have to get in a wall if you're trapped traveling and stuff. There's always something you can do to get in front of problems and make your playing more comfortable, less bothersome, maybe even work better for you, as in, faster, more endurance, what have you, not get fatigued. So we know we're picking all the time like that. So obviously the thumb adductor musculature needs to be addressed. So instead of just cranking on it way back here at the terminal end, the thicker musculature actually attaches more proximally. So a convenient way to address that and therefore not cause problems to an unrelated region when you're trying to get way down here, and you're more willing to hang out there and do it long enough to get the effect, because it's not going to be as simple as just, oh, I did this, I did that. You're waiting for a result, and the longer you do it, the more your body will expect it, the more it will respond, and you'll have less to maintain. When you need to make improvements, you need to do it a little more frequently for sure, if not longer. But okay, so let's look at that. I'm going to take web to web, go trying to make a diagonal vector here. So that this metacarpal bone, I'm going to be trying to bring rearward, right, toward the shoulder. So I'm just going to get as deep as I can in there and make it kind of trapped so that I can hang out. And yeah, you don't hold it out there. I'm trying to show you. So we're just addressing it till I feel a slight, I don't want to say pull, right? We don't want to pull it, that'd be wrong. But you do want to feel some tension for sure, and that's where you want to begin your work. Don't just go way past the point of overdoing it, causing injury for something that's supposed to be helping you. Be more hesitant in the early stages. You'll get, like anything, you'll start getting an idea of what you need to do, and by then you're having structural changes too, not just physiological changes in response to these forces you're putting in there. So, okay, so it's easy. It's going to feel a lot more comfortable, not as bound up. Even that alone would go a long way, since this is one of the biggest issues we have there. But that's only one finger, right? We got a lot of them are doing a lot of things. So using each other, I could mirror contact. And already this could be working, but if we rotate her up, you're going to notice how much more it brings into play a lot of these wrist flexors that are operating the hand, and some of them travel on all the way down to the tips of the fingers. So that's critical. Even when I'm talking about the hand, they're coming from up here, right? I mean, you can't fit a whole lot of equipment down in there. So we're going to meet them, even the thumbs, like a praying position, right? And so I'm bringing my palms down to my lap until it starts to get tight. Slight discomfort is what you're looking for to get effects. Doesn't have to be painful. And what you call discomfort, can vary, and as you get used to it, but better to hold back a little bit in the beginning, get some gains, and not already cause an issue that you're having to back off a lot more from, even you're playing. All right, so when I'm ready to intensify, either in that same session, you keep progressing by going even lower, right? Now, that alone, things could go wrong to not optimize it. So while I'm doing this, I'm telling my body, keep extending the fingers as much as possible, and do not let the heels of the palms separate. That's going to make it work a lot better. You'll feel it. So when it's not, you think it's easy, verify that you're doing those enhancements, if we want to say, right? So that goes a long way. So we get the opposite side, right? There's antagonistic pairs on the muscles and tendons. So you just make a loose fist and kind of meet it around the knuckles, right? And gently pull towards you while you're extending the arm. All right, so now we're getting all this here. All right, so intensify, not only in the session, because even you're going to notice your range of motion improves, and it doesn't need to go ad infinitum. It just needs to get to where it's giving you what you want, unless you want to be a contortionist in addition to a guitar player. But so the first time you do it or so, once you feel it a little bit, don't see, even though it's calming down and letting you do more, it's going to be overload the structures. You're going to need structural repair. So just be happy to start. Once you've been doing it, you don't want to force it all the way to what your new limits are when the body's not ready, and that can vary day to day. Whether how much micro trauma's in there from practicing performing, what you've eaten, what it's doing to the cells and the interstitial tissue and what have you. So always just look for starting point and don't assume where you should be. Listen to your body. So yeah, when you're in mid progress of doing these stretches, you want to find your starting point and then intensify, and then hold it long enough to where it calms down. You get a lasting effect, right? By that point, it's probably good. You can do it again later in the day or another day. And through weeks and months, your starting position is already going to be better than your finishing position used to be, and then you're going to take it to the finish of the stretching session or workout. So of course we want to do both sides, right? And if one may be better than the other, you can use that as a benchmark to try to get some symmetry, normalization. So when you want to intensify it, yeah, locking the arm out and pulling the wrist back toward you. All right, so of course I can address thumb on this side as well, like we were doing earlier. You may find if you want to if some fingers need a little more work than other, You'll get deeper stretches by isolating them out. All right, so I can do this. That's all intensifying, and all this can be done in seated positions, right? Come in here and grab his friends. All right. Even here, you know, that's something, but if I can stretch the muscles that I said are running through here better by getting at both points, why would I need to overstress the focal joints and maybe damage something when really I'm caring about stretching the muscles, right? We don't necessarily want to stretch the joints. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you stretch the capsule and all that, but really when we're talking about stretching, primarily we're talking about the musculature. All right, so I'm going to show you one of my favorites, because there's usually a wall everywhere you go. So I won't belabor the point too much since we covered a lot of the tenets of this, but I'll remind you, when you're a beginner, don't just get in there and hurt yourself putting your weight in it, especially, and find out it was too much, right? We're going to start lower, somewhere where it's a little bit of work to try to get the heel of the palm all the way against the wall and be able to continue to elongate the fingers and lock the elbow. If I'm like, okay, I got away with that, we can start progressing on up. The other thing I'll see people doing is spinning out of it, right? The more I can get that rotation of the fingers straight down to the ground, once you can get up to 90 degrees, it's probably all you need. I'm sure there's special cases for other stuff, but if you think you're getting higher, find out, are you really getting that heel of the palm all the way into the wall? Are you spreading and extending the fingers and locking the elbow? I like this one because we're getting some chest and neck stuff too. You'll feel while you do it. And because a little bit of the external loading of the body weight into the wall makes it easier to get into than having to use energy with the other hand and all. All right, so with the other side. All right, so I'd address it. I'd ease into it cautiously, you know, getting all my contacts. I know where I'm expecting, right? So even if I don't start lower to warm up, I'm just not going to ram it in there. I'm going to let things kind of comply, be talking to them, telling them to do what I want. All right, I'll step through. Now that I'm starting to feel it, I'm just going to let it work, right? Let it set in until it feels like it elongated the structures I want and the tissues are starting to relax. And getting the thumb as well, right? So I'm thinking about that, getting it straight out there. It's doing a lot of that first one I showed you on just the thumb. All right, so easing out of there. Lastly, before we wrapped up, so if you can choose just static flexibility exercises, drills like I showed you. You can do dynamic ones, right? So just extending, spreading the fingers, reaching out, opening the thumbs as much as you can, coming back into a loose fist and adding them. You know, you can intensify the range of motion as you progress. And that's putting some motion with it. I mean, we could probably talk all day about benefits and, you know, compare and contrast. A lot of that's going to be preference and individuality. So have options there. That one could be a warm up to get into the static ones. You know, if you've been real stiff, been somewhere cold, start shuttling some blood there by the exercise, switching your autonomic traffic. But I will say, the one you do is what's going to work. And long-term adherence is going to work better than the best one in the short term. But there is good argument, since we're trying to do some high-skilled stuff, there is good argument about volitional control versus external influence. So when you do something like the spread the hand, we're calling it, right? By me activating the muscles to pull it back, that message tells the others to turn off. I can't do both. I can't curl my arm and extend it. So that reciprocal inhibition, say that 5 times fast, under the realm of proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, pretty neat trick. And maybe it works better for function. So I'd say do both, right? Do one that's more functional, but there's a reason why Kung Fu masters and all them, they do these intense stretches, because they'll give you what maybe you couldn't just do on your own, right? Therefore, how far do we need to take it? Probably not a whole lot farther than the other. But those are some options. If you haven't been doing any resilience work, any flexibility or mobility, of course, you'll get some immediate short-term results. The real tail of the tape is going to be after you've committed to it for a bit. So it's easy. Only takes a couple minutes. Do it most days of the week, and see how much it helps you out. Y'all let me know if what it's doing for y'all. If there's other regions you want to look at or other examples you want me to dissect, I'll see if I can help y'all out. Anyway, get back to playing. Have fun. Later.